Hello, and welcome to Historic Mindscape, the channel where we explore the mysteries and wonders of the past. Today, we are going to talk about a fascinating discovery that reveals the existence of ancient cities in the Amazon rainforest. The Amazon, which is often considered one of the planet's last great wildernesses, was actually home to sophisticated and urbanized cultures that thrived for centuries before the arrival of Europeans. How do we know this? Well, thanks to a cutting-edge technology called Lidar, which stands for light detection and ranging, scientists were able to digitally deforest the canopy and identify the archaeological remains of a vast urban settlement in Bolivia that belonged to the Casarabe culture. This culture, which dates back to between 500 and 1400 CE, built monumental platforms, pyramids, moats, causeways, canals, and reservoirs, transforming the landscape according to their cosmology and worldview. In this video, we will take a closer look at this amazing discovery, and what it tells us about the history and diversity of human civilizations in the Amazon. Before we dive into the details, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more awesome content like this. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell, so you won't miss any of our future videos. Alright, let's get started. The name, Amazon, was given by Spanish explorer Francisco Orellana, after he was attacked when exploring the region by female warriors named the Icamiabas, or women without husbands. He compared them to the Amazons of Greek mythology. The Amazon rainforest, often referred to as the lungs of the earth, is the largest and most biodiverse tropical forest in the world, covering an area of about 5.5 million square kilometers, or 2.1 million square miles. It spans 9 countries: Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana. It is home to more than 30% of the world's known species of plants and animals, and more than 21 million people, including hundreds of indigenous groups. The Amazon also plays a vital role in regulating the global climate, as it absorbs and stores large amounts of carbon dioxide, and produces about 20% of the world's oxygen. But the Amazon is not only a natural wonder, it is also a cultural treasure. For centuries, legends have circulated about lost cities and civilizations that existed deep within the forests. Some of these legends were inspired by the search for El Dorado, a mythical city of gold that lured many Spanish explorers far off the map, and some of them never returned. As recently as the 20th century, a British explorer named Percy Fawcett searched for what he believed was the lost city of Z. He vanished into the jungle and added his own unfinished chapter to a tale that began 600 years ago. Now, thanks to modern technology and scientific research, we know that these legends were not entirely baseless. There were indeed ancient cities and civilizations in the Amazon, and some of them were quite impressive and complex. But finding them was not easy, as the dense and remote forest hid their traces from the naked eye. Even aerial surveys and satellite images could not reveal much, as the vegetation covered most of the archaeological features. That's why Lidar was such a game-changer. Lidar is a remote sensing technology that uses a laser to measure the distance between an object and a sensor. By firing thousands of laser pulses per second from an aircraft, Lidar can create a 3D map of the surface below, regardless of the vegetation cover. Lidar has been used for various purposes, such as mapping the terrain, measuring the height of trees, detecting landmines, and even finding fossils. But perhaps one of the most exciting applications of Lidar is in archaeology, where it can reveal hidden structures and landscapes that would otherwise be invisible or inaccessible. One of the most famous examples of Lidar in archaeology is the discovery of a lost city in Honduras, Central America, which was dubbed the City of the Monkey God. In 2012, a team of researchers used Lidar to scan a remote region in the Mesquite rainforest, where local legends spoke of a mysterious city that was abandoned after a curse. The Lidar revealed a complex network of plazas, pyramids, roads, and canals, indicating a previously unknown civilization that flourished between 1000 and 1500 CE. The site was later explored on the ground, and yielded many artifacts, such as stone sculptures, pottery, and gold ornaments. The researchers also encountered many dangers, such as venomous snakes, drug traffickers, and even a nasty flesh-eating disease. Another good example of LiDAR in archaeology is the mapping of the ancient Maya civilization, which spanned much of Central America and southern Mexico. In 2018, a project called Pacunum LiDAR Initiative, PLI, scanned more than 2,100 square kilometers, or 800 square miles, of the Maya Biosphere Reserve in Guatemala, which is the largest protected tropical forest in North America. The LiDAR revealed more than 60,000 structures, including pyramids, palaces, temples, fortifications, causeways, farms, and irrigation systems. The findings suggested that the Maya population was much larger and more interconnected than previously thought, reaching up to 10 million people at its peak. The LiDAR also showed how the Maya modified their environment, creating terraces, canals, and reservoirs to cope with the changing climate and rainfall patterns. But perhaps the most surprising example of LiDAR in archaeology is the one we are going to talk about today, which is the discovery of ancient cities in the Amazon rainforest. This discovery was made by a team of researchers from the German Archaeological Institute, the University of Exeter, and the University of Bonn, who published their findings in the journal Nature in 2022. The researchers focused on a region called Llanos de Mojos, which is located in the Bolivian Amazon, near the border with Brazil. This region is a vast plain that is seasonally flooded by the rivers that flow from the Andes Mountains. It is also one of the most archaeologically rich areas in the Amazon, as it has hundreds of sites belonging to a culture known as the Casarabe. These sites date back to between 500 and 1400 CE. The Casarabe were a socially complex and politically organized culture that practiced hunting, fishing, and farming. They cultivated staple crops such as maize, manioc, and squash, and also traded with other groups in the Amazon and the Andes. They built impressive earthworks, such as mounds, platforms, pyramids, moats, and ramparts, as well as extensive networks of causeways and canals, which served as transportation, communication, and water management systems. They also had a distinctive cosmology and worldview, which was reflected in their architecture and art. They decorated their pottery with geometric patterns and animal motifs, and they oriented their buildings to the north-northwest, which may have had astronomical or religious significance. The Casarabe culture was first identified by archaeologists in the 1960s, but since then, only a few sites have been excavated and studied in detail. The main reason for this is the difficulty of accessing and surveying the sites, which are often located in remote and forested areas, or underwater during the rainy season. The researchers wanted to overcome this challenge by using LiDAR, which had never been used before in the Amazon. They obtained permission from the Bolivian government and the local indigenous communities to conduct an airborne LiDAR survey of 6 different areas, covering a total of 229 square kilometers, or 88 square miles. They flew over the areas in a helicopter, equipped with a LiDAR sensor, a GPS, and a camera. They collected more than 4 billion data points, which were then processed and analyzed using specialized software. The results were stunning. The LiDAR revealed 26 archaeological sites, including 11 that were previously unknown. Among the 26 sites, 2 were particularly large and complex, and could be considered as urban centers. These were Landivar and Kotoka, which measured 1.2 and 0.5 square miles, respectively. These urban centers had multiple rings of moat and rampart fortifications, which may have served as defensive or symbolic structures. They also had artificial terraces, which were raised platforms of earth that supported buildings and plazas. Some of these terraces were very large, measuring up to 400 by 200 meters, or 1,300 by 660 feet. On top of these terraces, there were conical pyramids, which were earthen mounds with a circular base and a pointed top. Some of these pyramids were very tall, reaching up to 22 meters, or 72 feet. These pyramids may have been used for ceremonial or funerary purposes, as they were often associated with urns containing human remains. The urban centers also had U-shaped temples, which were rectangular buildings with an open side facing a central plaza. These temples may have been used for public rituals or gatherings, as they were often decorated with stone sculptures and pottery. They also had residential areas, which had smaller terraces and mounds, where people lived in houses made of wood, palm, and thatch. The urban centers were not isolated, but were connected to each other and to other smaller settlements by a system of causeways, which were raised roads made of earth and stone. These causeways radiated from the urban centers like spokes on a wheel, and stretched for several miles. They facilitated the movement of people and goods, and also served as drainage and flood control structures. The causeways linked the urban centers to suburban settlements, which were smaller and less complex, but still had some earthworks and terraces. Some of these suburban settlements may have been used as temporary campsites, or as specialized production or storage sites. The urban centers and their associated settlements were also connected to a system of canals, which were artificial channels that diverted water from rivers and Laguna San Jose, which delivered water to Cotoca. The Casarabe certainly aren't as well known as the Maya. A decade of archaeological work in the region has shown that their culture was distinct, and the region they inhabited was an annually flooded savanna with riverside forests, rather than the vast unbroken forest one finds in the area today. What happened to the Casarabe and their settlements remains a mystery, but dating at the sites suggests that their occupation ended around 1400 CE, prior to European arrival in the Amazon. Widespread drought may have been the culprit. At various sites there has been found huge reservoirs for water storage, which isn't something one would immediately expect in an Amazon region known for plentiful rainfall. Though it faced an unknown end, the culture that thrived here adds to the growing evidence that the Amazon isn't actually one of the world's great untouched wilderness areas, and wasn't even an unbroken forest until relatively modern times. Paleoclimate studies have suggested that much of the Amazon forest is a lot younger than suspected, and that large swaths of the Amazon, perhaps a fifth, were actually open savanna environments before Europeans arrived in the Americas. In Brazil's Xingu region, where dozens of communities called garden cities feature homes, plazas and palisade walls. Though the sites don't have the much larger monumental centers found in Bolivia, they were connected by a system of roads, bridges and canals, all situated in a large engineered landscape of fields, fish farms and other features. Intriguingly, this low-density, urban culture thrived in the same region where Fawcett vanished in search of his lost city of Z. Difficult as they can be to locate in the forest, earthworks clearly built by humans, designs known as geoglyphs, have been found in several other Amazon locales. In 2018, scientists using satellite images reported that large areas of Amazon forest in Brazil's Mato Grosso state, once thought to have been sparsely inhabited at best, were dotted with villages and oddly shaped earthwork geoglyphs. Even here, away from large rivers, many hundreds of villages could have housed up to 1 million people between 1250 and 1500 CE in an area that represents only about 7% of the Amazon basin. However, if larger urban centers anchored these populated sites, they haven't been found yet. Despite the large and sophisticated populations that once thrived here, lasting evidence of urbanism has been hard to find in the remote and thickly forested Amazon. But Lidar technology is boosting the pace of future discoveries. Lidar has been transformative for archaeology, and this work is a great example of that. These researchers were able to see patterns that were not visible from the ground. These patterns clearly showed ancient settlements with a level of social complexity that hasn't been demonstrated in the Amazon. It's absolutely amazing. While it appears that the Amazon once teemed with human activity, many ancient sites have remained almost undisturbed for some 500 years, and finding the relics and artifacts of pre-Spanish cultures will be untouched. A new perspective on Amazonian heritage is that the discovery challenges the common perception of the Amazon as a pristine wilderness, and highlights the rich cultural and environmental legacy of the indigenous peoples who live there. Lidar has allowed archaeologists to see beyond the dense forests and reveal hidden cities, roads, and agricultural systems that were previously unknown. It's a game-changer for understanding the rich history of South America and other regions around the world. Until next time, may the wisdom and mysteries of ancient history continue to inspire and captivate you. Stay curious and thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.